Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Thor issue 19. And I really liked this one and I really enjoyed it because I just like how this creative team really kind of gets into the kind of mythological kind of storytelling that kind of happens with Thor and how it's really been going through with this arc, because we understand where we're at in certain points in the story, and then we get an issue where it introduces some kind of concept that we get a little bit of a background of in like the past, and then how it kind of affects us and what's going on now. And it's really kind of cool because it starts off talking about like the Titans and the Elder Gods that were like before, and how they would use planets to like fight each other and rage and just fury. And we see like a bit smash into this planet of dinosaurs and destroy it, of like gods and fire and rage and annihilation, and how the cosmic wheel keeps turning on these kind of cycles and what it means and how it changes differently. And we see that it goes towards Odin, as we see this one piece smacking down. We see it near Nidavellir untold aeons ago, as he gets to it, seeing the fire, it's the gods, the rage, and then we get born from entropy, eternity with Mjolnir. And then it goes into explaining like what went on with like the mighty Thor with Jane Foster, and how she had thrown Mangog into the sun and it was broken but then reforged again. And now it's going back through the cycles, and now we're back to rage with King Thor. And he gets this really kind of cool walk shot that just looks pretty great, and it works. And we then see that he inquires to Sif if she can view who has stolen Mjolnir, and she can't. And she's like, that's pretty messed up. And she's like, well, don't you think that your person of war, Bill, should be handling this? And then he starts explaining that like there's a book of kings all in the past. He knows of those titans before, and then he also has prophecies of the future and how Mjolnir will come, kill this golden king, and put him into the fire forevermore. Sounding almost like a reforging of a new weapon using potentially Thor. And he's like, listen, I refuse to let a book tell me how I'm going to die. And it definitely tracks as Thor's kind of thing that he would say, but also, interestingly enough, that is something kind of Odinish as well. Now, granted, yeah, they're father and son, but we see Thor handling this, granted, as himself, but also as Odin would somewhat handle certain things as well. Now, granted, not as an asshole, as complete asshole as Odin, but he does act more kind of harder on Sif, being like, listen, if there's business here, turn your eyes to it, because if you can't track what I need you to, your time would be better spent there. And he wants her to send him somewhere else, and she's like, I don't know about that. And he's like, do you want me to take the sword from you? And it's like, shit, this, I could understand why people would have a problem with this, because this is not usually how Thor would talk to his comrades at all. But he's seen Thanos with Mjolnir encrusted in the Infinity Stones and a Black Death gauntlet, and seen his death that way. He has seen the prophecy books talking about other ways. We've also seen name drop the other different kind of entities that have gone on throughout time, as they were talking about the Titans, of like the King in Black, the Tempest, the Black Winter, the Phoenix, all these kind of things. And Thor's coming up with some kind of action plan. We don't know what it is. Hell, he could be flying as much by the seat of his pants as we know. But he gets sent up, and we see this area, the gauntlets, just like this thing in the frickin' abyss where like combatants are tested. And it looks pretty cool. And it's kind of cool that we get the kind of like small things kind of like explaining to us what it is, the fingers moaning. We see all that kind of stuff going on with it. Well, let's just show you here. Because it is a pretty gnarly looking thing. It's like, yeah, that's kind of crazy. Because you kind of see that the fingers are like the stands where people can see the combatants. And of course, this is where Angel's like, hey, Odin, suck it. Now, not saying that Odin's not do something like this. One asshole turn does not deserve another asshole turn. Then you just get assholes doing asshole things everywhere. And then the problems just keep multiplying exponentially until the biggest asshole does the biggest asshole move. But we see that Odin is fighting this dude, and he is about to pretty much get taken out. But we see, of course, the Bifrost band down. We see Thor holding him like, oh, yes, this seems to be kind of weird. He's like, get away from my father. Kicks him away. And then the rest of the crowd are like, holy shit, now I've lost my bet and all that stuff. Stupid gods interfering in this stuff. He's like, alright, any reason why you're here? It's like, your damn sister Angela. It's like, ah, yes, that tracks. And it's just funny thinking that Thor is enough up on the slang to be like, yes, that tracks. And I'm just thinking of hearing it in his voice. And he's like, alright, listen, Mjolnir's gone, and we need to do something about it. I was like, oh. He's like, yes, I know, everybody knows. He's like, well, does that mean you're going to help me? He's like, you made it clear where we stand on that. And it's like, hold on a minute, let me clean up your mess. And then he uses a sword to chop off the other dude's arm. And he's like, hey, I'll help you. I cleaned up your mess. Please help me clean up mine. And we see that they have used the Bifrost to go to Nidavellir. And Thor's like, why would we be here? And then Odin explains to us that everything that the dwarves forge can be tracked by them because a part of their soul is imparted in the process because they work with their blood and everything into these things. But as they get up there, they start seeing untold destruction and devastation. We see that the Valravens are dead. And it's a gruesome kind of shot. It's like, god dang. See here? I mean, whatever could do that to everything, that's kind of messed up. And Odin's explaining whatever did this is pretty messed up because they don't have any blood on their talons, meaning that whatever took them out fast enough that they didn't see it. And that is a problem. And they're like, what the hell? They go inside and we see that the forge is smashed, all the dwarves are dead. And it's like, that's crazy that we'll have to see if like all the dwarves in Nidavellir are dead, or if they just took out all the main ones that were like forge masters that could have been around to help track Mjolnir. But Odin's then like, Thor's like trying to figure out what could have done this. He's like, you've wielded that hammer for long enough, Thor. Don't you know its work when you see it? And it's like, okay, this... Yep. And he acknowledges that this was done by Mjolnir. So whoever's doing this is able to use Mjolnir very effectively and very deadly. Now granted, Thor has been able to do that himself, but this is someone that has no compunction with doing untold devastation. So this is someone that Thor's got to take as a very big threat that needs to be dealt as effectively as possible. And Thor's look at the end is like, yeah, I'm going to take this. So I can't wait to see kind of how this kind of goes. We do have Throg going off with his Avengers and his spy network to try and see what they can do. We've got Thor and Odin doing more overt kind of things, which I think is actually a very sound tactic to do. Paint the target on yourself, and then you've got your other group that's able to potentially pop out whenever is needed to have a more tactical advantage should who you're messing with be pretty fucking gnarly. So I can't wait to kind of see how this kind of goes from here and what kind of moves Odin and Thor will be going, and if Loki will need to be called in and what kind of use he will be in battling this god of hammers. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.